Hey guys, today I want to talk through some strategies for extreme stress management. So, over the course of my career, I've been in a handful of scenarios that were definitely high stress or extreme stress scenarios. Came up with a couple different things along the way that I found incredibly helpful for keeping a clear head, keeping your focus, managing everything during those kinds of stressful scenarios. So, I wanted to share those with you today. So, the very first one, taking inventory. One of the very first things that I encourage you to do is ask a question, right? So, ask the question: is anyone from my team in a jail cell, a hospital, or a morgue? Right? Those three: jail cell, hospital, and morgue. If the answer is no, we're actually having a good day. There's nothing irreversible that we're encountering today, as long as no one is in a jail cell, a hospital, or a morgue, right? Those are the things that are the hardest to recover from, those permanent lifelong injuries, someone losing their life, someone being locked up. So if we're avoiding those three, we're actually having a better day than we might feel like we're having. So I encourage you to take a look at that first, put things in perspective. But then going from there, right, moving beyond that idea that, okay, there's nothing irreversible that's happened today, looking at the resources we have in front of us and taking inventory there. So there's very little you cannot fix in life if you have access to currency and communications. Those are the big two, right? If you've got any kind of currency at your disposal and you've got some means of getting in touch with someone, you can get actually out of, I'm going to say a lot of scenarios, if not, not quite all, but I'm going to say most scenarios through currency and communications. This also ties into, okay, who am I going to be reaching out to? Well, even if you absolutely burned a relationship with someone, you feel like, something in your life has gone really wrong with someone that you need to rebuild something with. I'd encourage you to take a look and say, all right, do I have at least a basic level of rapport with this person? That doesn't mean they like me. They might be mad at me, but at the very least, can I get them to pick up the phone? Right? Are they willing to answer a phone call from me? If I knock on their door, will they answer? At that point, there's nothing irreversible, right? It's going to take time, might take years for you to repair that relationship if it's something in your personal life. But at the very least, if you've got currency and communications, and the communications involves even the slightest bit of rapport with whoever you need to repair something with, that goes a long way, and odds are it's not irreversible. So this leads into the second part here, the 30-60-90 plan. This is something that I talk with a lot of guys about, something that I built out over the years, just to also take inventory and take a look and say, all right, is today actually as bad as I thought it was? Is this scenario truly as life-threatening as I thought it was? So 30, 60, 90, I break that down into 30 seconds, 60 minutes, 90 days. And so what I mean when I say that is, let's look at the next 30 seconds, right? Am I imminently about to die in the next 30 seconds? If you are imminently about to die in the next 30 seconds and you're being shot at right now, I'm flattered that you're on my YouTube channel, but also I'm questioning your life decisions. You should probably do something about that. But really, all joking aside, the next 30 seconds of your life, am I safe for the next 30? Overwhelmingly, no matter how much of a catastrophic scenario you feel like you're in right now, answer is probably yes, right? The answer is probably yes. I can survive the next 30. I'm not imminently about to die this exact second. So that's good. That means you can take a breath, right? You got time to take a couple breaths and say, all right, let's look beyond the next 30 seconds. Let's look at the next 60 minutes. Is there anything in the next hour of my life where I'm imminently about to lose life or limb, or I'm about to go bankrupt, where there's something irreversible about to happen, either physically, legally, anything like that, right? The answer could be maybe at this point, right? It might be that there's something pressing or imminent, but a lot of the time, I like looking at that 60-minute window too, because for that same reason, usually you're probably not about to go bankrupt in the next 60 minutes. You're probably not about to lose your life in the next 60 minutes. And so that also gives us some additional perspective there where we say, okay, I actually have even more time than I thought, right? I already figured out I got at least 30 seconds to handle this. Actually, I've got at least an hour to handle that. So an hour of dedicated time on almost anything is pretty nice. I mean, it's kind of a luxury. So once we've established those two, we get to the real meat of it, which is 90 days. So if I need to survive the scenario for the next 90 days, can I do it? Right? Odds are the answer is yes. You probably can. If it's a hard financial scenario, it could be that you're having to sell things, could be you got to pick up a second job, could be you need to borrow money. I mean, none of these things are ideal, right? We don't like doing any of these. But at the same time, can that get you through the next 90 days? Yes. So looking at that, right? We look at the next 90. Okay, we can probably come up with some strategies to get us through the next 90 days. And it's very rare that there's something so pressing that there's nothing we can do about it if we have a 90-day window, right? Especially if we pull in friends, family, anyone that's on our team, anyone that's got our backs. That 90-day window is actually really critical. And if you can get through that, you can get through a whole lot longer than 90. One of the final things I want to recommend here, So, the familial war cry of my family is actually trust and go forward. This is something that's got a lot of deep meaning to me personally, right? That idea that you need to trust God, but also keep moving each foot forward on your own as well, right? So it's a hybrid approach, right? It's not only trusting God, but continuing to move forward personally. So you guys know one of my favorite verses, Romans 8:18. For I consider that the sufferings of this present time are not worth comparing with the glory that is to be revealed in us. Right. So that's something that Paul told us. It's something that I've seen be really influential with a lot of guys that are struggling with something right now. So really trusting God's plan, understanding that there is something bigger in front of you that you're pushing towards and moving forward towards. We might be impatient to figure out those plans. It might drive us nuts that we don't know what's coming next in our lives. But at the same time, we know it's going to be good, right? Because it's coming from God. So at the end of the day, his plans are going to be good, even if we don't understand them now, and even if we're impatient to figure that out and we want to know immediately. And that second part, go forward. So I've done a handful of marathons, ultra marathons, extreme endurance events. Uh, you start off, you're feeling great, and then later on, when you're hitting that wall, sometimes you're focused on just putting one foot in front of the other, and that's all you can think about, and actually all you should think about. So that idea that, yes, do I have 5 miles left or even 20 miles left? Yeah, that's not ideal. And maybe I'm not looking forward to doing that. But at the same time, all you got to do is just continue putting one foot in front of the other, focus on what's that small step I can accomplish today. If I want to have at least a tiny impact, what's one step I can move forward today? And you combine that with trusting God, and you're going to be in good shape. Thanks, guys.